What's up, Venkers?
Hello, Venkers.
This is Oscar Piastri coming to you
Yes.
live. I've got lots of time on my hands because my teammate stepped on his own dick and is self-sabotaging, and I'm pretty much going to be a world champion. So I've decided to start podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of do this podcast and win the championship because I don't know if you know, but the McLaren's a rocket, and I can put it on pole and then win a race definitively. But Lando Norris, he's an absolute mess. He's an absolute mess, Venkers.
I just exist, and he just implodes. It's amazing. Everyone talks about mind games. I don't even talk. I just show up, and he just does his own. He talks himself out of things. It's kind of crazy. He psychs himself out.
I tell him he's a good race car driver. He says, "Fuck you, no, I'm not." So I guess this championship is really just mine for the taking. The real person I maybe have to worry about is actually George Russell. That's actually my real competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically his vibe right now.
That we'll see. That might be the vibe of this whole season. That Lando Norris is just spinning him. He's chasing his own tail as Oscar Piastri just slowly walks himself to victory, because this weekend was telling. I am scared for my boy Lando Norris. Of course, this is the Red Flags, brought to you by BetMGM. We're talking all things Bahrain. This was a crazy race for everyone other than Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri was just out in front, enjoying his life, just cruising on to a victory, and behind him was carnage and chaos.
Yeah, it was. It's that meme where the guys, there's a fight at a Waffle House, and a guy's just smoking a blunt.
Yes,
That's Oscar Piastri. That was Oscar Piastri. This race, that was so amazing. I mean, he is he winning this thing, or is Lando just losing it?
Unclear at this point. Unclear, because, this McLaren car is a rocket ship.
No, Brian. You heard Lando. He's like, well, if Max drove it, he'd be sourly disappointed.
Is that what he said?
No, because Max the other week was saying,
right.
Yeah, if I was in the McLaren, you wouldn't even see me. I'd be gone.
Right.
And then McLaren was like, well, I'll invite him to test our car because he'd be in for a rude awakening.
Let me tell you, it's no peach to drive. Let me tell you that much. Let me tell you that much, Mr. Max Verstappen.
He's like, do you understand? He's basically like, do you understand how much management I have to do with this enormous trust fund I have? It's a lot of admin. It's like, no, dude, you have the best situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried about my boy Lando Norris because this weekend was just a mess. I mean, qualifying 6th, and then the race, he has this amazing start. Dude, I watched the start, I'm like, yes, Lando, come on. They doubt you and you come back. Look at that start. Max Verstappen loses places. You gain places. Let's go. And right as I'm on that high, they're like, oop, actually, that's going to be... He was definitely over the line there. Lando Norris, definitely over the line. I was like, oh my God.
And he did it in the dumbest way. It's not even like he jumped the start. He did it just standing still.
Yes.
Just still.
Yeah.
Be one thing if he, false start like in track, you jump the gun a little bit.
Right.
You try to anticipate it. But he just was sitting there and he just went, gloom.
Yeah.
Just,
dude, like you're not paying it, like you're looking at your phone in bumper to bumper traffic and you just rear end the guy in front of you. That's how he started this race.
Yeah. It's exactly it. He was he just let go. Just keep your foot on don't do anything. Just don't do anything. Do nothing.
But Max, the fucking snitch, Verstappen, The second he moves, he goes, Lando's ahead of the pit box. Lando's ahead of the grid spot. I wrote in all caps, Max is a fucking snitch, dude. We haven't gotten there, but I'm nominating him for Karen of the day, dude.
Okay.
Run your own race, Max Verstappen. Leave my cheating boy Lando Norris alone.
But there's sometimes where he'll snitch, and I'm like, how the fuck did he even see that? That was like behind him, you know?
Right. This one wasn't that. This one was right in front of him.
Jenny says from the car cam, you can just see Max's helmet just snap. Like he's one of those robot turrets, you know, like that has sensors. Sensors, the things that can pick up movement and like they should have on the fucking track.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
No, Max is like Jenny put Max is like the little girl in Squid Game. You move, he'll just fucking shoot you.
Yes.
He's got eyes everywhere.
It's red light, green light, and Max Verstappen
red light, green light, girl.
Max Verstappen is shrouded in bullets and absolutely dead on the fucking gravel.
Lando. No, it was such a, well, it's interesting. It's interesting that when he made that jump, you were so excited and happy. I was like, I wasn't even that excited. I was like, well, of course he's always been good when he's starting from sixth.
Yeah.
He's been good for years. You know, when the McLaren was the third or fourth best car, that's where he lived. Be like, whoa, Lando got it in the second row.
Yeah.
Wow, what a start from Lando Norris. It's when he's up front that he's got the problem. But he didn't even nail this. He jumped the start.
Yeah.
He's the only one who did it. None of the rookies did it. No, Ollie Behrman didn't do it. Jack Doohan didn't do it. Gabriel Bortoletto didn't do it. Just the guy who's
leading the championship.
Leading the championship. Just him. He's the only one that did it. And then he did the track limits bullshit. We had to give the place back.
I'm not even sure that he overtook off track. I feel like it was the blue line. I was kind of like, that one was fine, but it was still, the whole race was so chaotic for him. Literally, when I was thinking about it, I was like, the McLarens are like when you have two kids, you have two sons, and one son just like does his homework, goes to a good college, gets a good job, settles down, has a kid, and just lives a good life. And he's no drama. And the other kid is like changing careers every 5 seconds, and he's got a different poster with a different ideology in his room every 2 seconds, and he's staying out late for curfew. And then
no
he's
girlfriend,
crying.
no girlfriend.
Just chaos. Just like,
yes.
It's the tale of two sons. One son who just like does what he's supposed to do, and the other son who's just bouncing off the fucking walls. Like, that's Lando. Lando's the chaos.
They call it
son.
Senator Bank Robber. That's what they call it. Senator Bank. One kid's a senator, one kid's a bank robber, and although the very presence of a guy like Oscar Piastri could be unsettling, he's just an unsettling presence.
Yes.
I mean, that is a dark energy. That is an intense energy. If you're Lando, you're like, woohoo! And then there's a guy who's just sitting there like Judd from Oklahoma. He's just kind of, there's a darkness there. There's a spooky factor to Oscar.
But it's not even dark. It's just that he is like unflappable. So he's just like a blank canvas for you to project anything onto. Like, I don't think Oscar Piastri, like, he's not dark. He's dark if he reflects.
That's just what I'm putting onto him. That's just what I'm putting onto him.
He's like the mirror. He's like that mirror in Harry Potter where you see what, Harry goes and he sees his parents, and then like he's like, Ron, come look at my parents. And then Ron goes and he's like, I've won the Quidditch Cup. I'm top boy. It's like. Right. What Oscar Piastri is that he reflects all of your deepest like insecurities back to you because he's just a blank slate.
And then you have to fill the space with your own stuff.
Right. And the reality is what this race, especially when it comes to the McLaren stuff, what it brings up for me is just, and it's the mentality shit. It's who has what it takes, like in here and down there, to really take this thing. And what the conversation has been around Lando and Oscar is that, like, you said it in the last episode, we were talking about like a goldfish brain. Oscar has this terrible first race, home race, he spins off, but he crawls himself back on track. He finishes the race. He goes out the next week and he wins in China. He forgets. He lets Australia go so China can happen.
He didn't even care that he won this race. He's already on to the next one.
Totally. But he's like, I think that Lando is just more streaky. So I think if Lando got on a good run, then Lando gets on a good run.
J.R. Smith vibes.
Right. This happens in sport. You're in the zone, or you're hot or you're cold. But then there's guys that are just day in, day out, consistent performers. Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Big fundamentals. Yeah.
The fundamentals guys. But then there's a guy like
J.R.
Smith.
There's a guy like J.R. Smith. He's the bet. When he's on, he is he's the best player he's an automatic bucket.
And I think probably what the deal is with Lando Norris is that on Lando Norris's day, when Lando is on and it's all happening and it's not about the pressure, it's just about the pure talent, I think that Lando is up there with anyone. I think he probably overtakes Oscar at this point. But Oscar's just that he's just every game he hits a single. He's a 300 hitter. He's just and that's what this season is gonna take. And fuck, man, I just don't. Right now, I know it's easy to get swayed week to week, but we've had 2 races in clean conditions, not weird conditions, and in those 2 races, Oscar Piastri's dominated. China, and now in Bahrain, Oscar. Mm-hmm. No wetness, no rain, no anything. Australia, obviously, with the rain. Even Japan was kind of weird. It rains in the morning. The tires just weren't degrading at all. And I think that's a track that's actually a little bit better suited to Lando, because I think that Oscar dominates those medium to low speed corners because of his driving style. I think that Lando's actually a little bit more adept at just the super high speed. That's where Lando's talent really shines. But I just think right now, I'm dejected. I'm Oscar Piastri's going to run away with this championship.
Only if Lando lets him.
But right now, I'm I think I don't know. I see that potentially happening. I see that happening.
Yeah, it's a downward. He could be stuck in this downward spiral.
Yeah,
but if it was Oscar would be all right, I'll get him next time. He's just on to the next one. But all this. All this feeling, I'm clueless. It's I don't know how to drive a Formula One car. It's self-pity. It's triggering for me. I have family members that do that.
Yeah.
The self-pity. It's crazy.
Now, here's the thing. The self-pity on its face isn't necessarily bad. Whatever. If he wants to deal with it how he wants to deal with it, that's one thing. But it's about being able, if that's how you process, that's how you process. But if when the pressure's on you falter, then that's the real thing that's being talked about. That's the real currency here, is that the pressure's on, Oscar's going to be there every time, and are you going to let the pressure get to you? And I just don't,
right. But if you say things that kind of connote a sort of head case quality, and then you beef it,
right,
then people are going to start to connect the two. Now,
totally. If
you say things that are kind of crazy or not crazy, if you say things that people are well, I don't know if I would have phrased it that way, that's sort of put out quote unquote weakness, and then you kill it, no one's going to say shit.
Right.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
No one's going to care.
Under promise, over deliver.
No one cared when LeBron James was 18 or 19 and ate McDonald's every day. No one cared because the guy produced.
No, when you don't produce, people look at what's going on. And now here's the thing. Right now, as terrible as we're maybe interpreting this race, he still got third. He didn't totally beef it. I mean, it was chaos, but he was able to stick around. It's just when I look at a performance like this, I just think I don't see I see that happening more to Lando Norris than I do to Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, he is. I think he's so talented. I think where you see him more limited is sort of he fucks up the little things like the starts, things like that. And I also think that he's not a crazy overtaker.
Yes, he's not.
He's got like crazy pace, great qualifying, great on his tires,
but he needs clean air.
He needs clean air, and he doesn't just go for it. Like George Russell just fucking goes for it. Max Verstappen goes for it. Leclerc goes. He never catches people by surprise. His overtaking in the beginning was kind of sloppy.
Right.
It was kind of sloppy.
Even Brundle said it. Brundle was like, "This has been a absolutely sloppy race. This racecraft from Lando is bad." He said that on the broadcast. But it's actually interesting. And then I think we can move on to the other parts of this race. But like when earlier in the past couple years with Lando, when it wasn't Lando's fight, Lando didn't fight. He was kind of known for that. Like, if this isn't your race, Lando, this is not our race, just let him through, let him by. And what that created, actually, because the McLarens were often kind of in like this little weird pocket of their own. They were like only up until when they started getting good, where they really like, oh, we're really competing with people. We're really like rubbing our nose in it.
They were like the fourth best team.
And yeah, they were kind of in that like weird like Aston space where they're like better than the bad, but they're not as good as the good. So it's like there was actually no one for them to fight, and Lando wouldn't fight. And I said at the time, I was like, well, I hope like when the time comes, he's ready for that. But I think like his training in Formula One specifically, not karting, not his come up, but the last 5-6 years in Formula One or however long it's been, he's kind of just not been confrontational, not gone wheel to wheel that much. And I think right now it's showing on track.
And he hasn't had a teammate to really push him since Sainz left.
Yeah.
He had Daniel Ricciardo for 2 years, and now it's but the thing is if you're going to be like Vettel.
Yeah.
I don't think Vettel was renowned for his racecraft. Vettel was a great qualifier.
Yes.
He got out in front.
He's quick.
And he disappeared.
And especially
so you got to nail it in qualifying. Yeah. If you're not that guy.
Yes.
Hamilton is one of those guys, right? Who won't qualify well, and he'll just fight his way through. Alonso, not a great legendary qualifier. We'll do a great start.
Yeah.
Lewis and Fernando, great starters, will work their way through, right? So if you're going to be if you're not good at that, then you just, Saturday's got to be your day.
He's got to nail, for him to win this championship, it's got to be poles. Like that, all the focus needs to go on Saturday, because especially this year, Fred Vasseur said it best, it's going to be a qualifying world championship. You can't let Oscar Piastri, who has not been in Formula One as long as you, and who arguably doesn't have the skill that you have, beat you on Saturday. Let him beat you on Sunday. That's what needs to happen for Lando Norris.
Well, the thing is, you have to win on Saturday because McLaren kind of makes it more difficult for you to win on Sunday.
Yeah.
They don't let you. They go, oh, they say let him race, but they're like, oh, this is the crossover point. No, and then games start getting played. So we don't know. That you really got to win on Saturday.
Yeah. No, Saturday.
And they're not going to let you.
Today.
And and that's the other thing is if you're behind, they're not gonna let you pull some great strategy.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let, if Oscar's qualified second, they're gonna let him undercut Lando.
Right.
They're gonna give Lando whatever the best strategy is.
Right.
So you really got to win on Saturday. And it seems like, unfortunately, Saturdays are so fraught. I mean, usually qualifying sucks. Now you're at the edge of your seat watching qualifying. That they've become real pressure cookers.
Yeah, no,
and that's in Oscar's favor, that it's a pressure cooker.
Right. Vankers, this episode is brought to you by BetMGM. Come see what's new at BetMGM. Score bigger when you win with boost tokens, odd boost tokens, and more. Even if your bet doesn't hit, we've got you covered with no sweat tokens. Sign up with BetMGM today and you'll have access to countless betting options, including new look, same game parlays, teasers, live bets, and so much more. Take advantage of these offerings and be sure to use the bonus code DADDY when signing up to receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. This is an exciting season. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, who's going to finish? Who's going to win each race? Where's Yuki Tsunoda going to wind up? You can bet on all this with BetMGM, so do it today. Use the bonus code DADDY when signing up, and again, receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. See you out there, Vegas.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 and over only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
No, Lando's got to figure out the Saturdays in order to have a chance and make the season interesting. So I hope that he can figure that out and not let this pressure get to him. Let's talk about a guy who is not letting the pressure get to him. George Russell. George Russell secretly is maybe the third person who's in the title run for this championship. Like, he might be the guy who is really actually challenging for a win who's not in McLaren.
He's crushing it. He's crushing it. And nobody cares.
I don't want to hear listen, I think that Kimi Antonelli, he's got a bright future. But can we shut the fuck up about him for a second? Because George Russell is putting in master classes and no one cares.
And no one cares. I heard more about Kimi Antonelli during the race than I heard about George. But here's what Kimi's doing. I'll tell you what Kimi's doing. Ready?
Yeah.
So George is playing GTA and completing the missions like an expert.
Yeah. Yes,
Kimi is just shooting pedestrians, racking up stars, right? Running from the police, doing sick shit. He's not actually completing any of the missions, but he's got the minigun and he's just going to town. And everyone's like, "Whoa, this guy's amazing!" I'm like, "Yeah, but he's not completing the mission."
Yeah. He's a guy in the basketball court who can like shoot a full court shot and make it, but then you play him 1-on-1 and you beat him, but everyone's like, "Fuck you! Did you hit the half court shot? I don't think." Did
you see Kimi in warm-ups? Yeah. Did you see him dunk in warm-ups? I was like, I saw him have 9 turnovers, but the dunk in warm-up was cool.
I saw him start P5 and P11. I saw that.
Well, that's not really his. I mean, he had bad strategy. I mean, but they're still. It's just who we are as humans. We're always attracted to the new shiny thing.
Yeah, and that's been George.
That doesn't matter that the old thing is awesome.
Right.
That's why people cheat. That's why they. Right. It doesn't matter how good you got it at home. You have to. Oh, that's new.
That's why people cheat with people that are uglier than their spouses, because they just want something new.
Yeah.
The amount of times that I'll see, like, I'll hear about, this person that I know cheated on their partner, and then I'll see the person they cheated with, and I go, what the fuck are they doing? But,
that's human nature.
They wanted something new. And and we talked about a little bit of this on the Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon right now. We do multiple episodes every month. Every qualifying, we do our instant reactions. Patreon.com/TRFpod. But the thing with George is that, like, he had such a little time in Formula One to be the shiny new thing.
Yep.
Because he was at Williams for too long. He had the time where he filled in for Lewis in 2020, and he almost won that race if it hadn't been for, mechanical failures. Then he had the P2 in Spa while he was at Williams, and he's crying, and and he had those times. But then he goes to Mercedes, and as shiny a thing as you can be, when you're next to Lewis Hamilton, no one gives a shit.
Also, Mercedes was shit when he went there.
Exactly.
Valtteri Bottas was the last guy to be the other driver when it was good.
Right. Yeah, and you were saying this on the Patreon, but it was just like, if George had been on Mercedes in 2020, like, what happens?
He would have been the sexy new thing. Everyone would have been paying attention to him. By the way, I think, honestly, and I said this on a Patreon, subscribe to Patreon, if George had started there at 2020 and then 2021, Lewis is not winning. Max is easily winning that 2021 title.
Right.
Easily, because George is definitely, when Mercedes is on it, George is creating problems.
Totally.
George is not cooperating. Probably. Because it was so tight for Hamilton. Hamilton needed every point, obviously. And I think Or you could argue that George would have been a great rear gunner, but I fucking doubt it.
Yeah, no, definitely
fucking
not.
doubt it.
George, we know enough about George Russell to know that that's not. He's just like, he's putting in just great. I mean, everything was going wrong with him today. They were like, hey, so George, like, if the wheel turns off, just like, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing, baby. He's like, all right, fucking hey, okay. He's like, as long as the wheel doesn't literally fall off, I guess I'm good.
Like
hey, George,
Alonso,
the DRS
He was
is
making
broken,
jokes. He was making jokes because he was referencing Alonso's wheel just came off because the Aston Martin is just, I don't know what they're doing. They hired Adrian Newey, and they might be the worst fucking car.
They're so bad, dude.
They're
when
terrible.
Alonso got 13th, and he was like, "What an amazing performance from us guys." I was like, "Jesus, this is where Max Verstappen's supposed to be going in 2 years? Are you kidding me?"
I thought they were fucking. I thought he was fucking with them. I thought he was being sarcastic,
right.
but
no,
I
was
think
earnest.
he
was thrilled to be P13.
Jesus, no, I mean George had he was very level-headed. Everything was going wrong. The steering wheel was fucked up.
Lando's breathing down his neck. I mean, and he keeps him off of his tail, and he gets second place. He's had 3 podiums now in the first 4 races.
Yeah, he went long on the softs, which everyone was afraid of doing, and George is like does the thing that everyone's afraid of doing. He just does it. He goes,
well, you know it's bad. You know it's bad when even George is like, "Whoa, that's."
He says it. He said it was audacious, dude. He works on the severed floor.
Yeah.
His florid language is crazy. I just can't wait till he passes someone and says, "Devour feculence, you fetid muppet."
I don't watch.
Praise be to Kier.
Yeah,
I love all of my polls equally.
Totally.
Dude, how good would George be? George should run the severed floor. Doesn't he look like somebody who doesn't? If Mr. Milchick leaves, doesn't he look like he could be? What's her face? Oh, Mrs. Cobell. What's her name? Jenny, come on in the chat. Chat me, Jenny. What's her name?
She's thinking.
Patricia Arquette. You're useless. Yes. Doesn't he look like he could be Patricia Arquette's creepy son in that show?
Sure. I don't watch Severance, but sure. Yes.
I'm just yes, and I don't know what you're talking about.
I am not Jacques Villeneuve. I'm totally with you, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, he has that vibe. It's like, 24 laps on the softs, bit audacious. But George is a betting man. He was horny for that.
Yeah.
And they know George now. What I saw that move today is that Mercedes now knows George. They're like, we got to give him something kind of crazy, and he'll make it work. That's what George does. Yeah.
Also, George doesn't have Hamilton to worry about anymore.
He's so free of that. He's a new man without Lewis Hamilton there.
He used to be very preoccupied with Lewis. Very preoccupied.
So he's not preoccupied with Kimi. He's preoccupied with getting the best result that he can possibly get. He's finally I mean, he's like the kid who wanted to run for student government and the guy who's been president since his freshman year, who everyone just loved. They're like, this guy wins every year because he's the fucking man. He finally left, and it's finally time for him to be like top boy.
Yeah.
He's finally running Ravenclaw. He's finally, I get to be the head of Ravenclaw this year, don't I?
Is he Ravenclaw?
I think so. Ravenclaws are like smirk and kind of like conniving and overlooked. Everyone cares about Slytherin and Gryffindor.
Dude, I hate to say this, but is Lando a Hufflepuff? Lando is 100% a Hufflepuff, dude.
Dude, everyone thinks Lando's a Gryffindor. That dude is a Hufflepuff. And Piastri is
Slytherin.
He's a nice Slytherin.
He's a nice Slytherin. He's a good Slytherin.
He's a good Slytherin. Obviously, Lewis is Gryffindor.
Charles might be Gryffindor.
Charles is Gryffindor as well.
Charles is brave.
He's got a little Hufflepuff in there as well, but he's probably he's dominant Gryffindor.
Ocon is Ravenclaw.
Ocon is Ravenclaw, but he wants to be Slytherin so bad, so he's like overcompensates. Like,
who wants to be Slytherin?
Ocon. Ocon wants to be Slytherin. Are you kidding
Brian,
me?
what do you think you and I are? I think I'm probably Ravenclaw or Slytherin.
I think I did a test once, and I think it said I was Ravenclaw, but
Brian, you are not Ravenclaw. You're
well,
more.
Ravenclaw's like, what am I? I'm.
They're
Griff.
just nerds. Ravenclaws are fucking nerds.
I'm
like,
Griff,
right?
baby. I'm Gryffindor. In the
Okay,
chat,
so Oscar Piastri. Oscar
we?
Piastri is definitely. Okay, this is interesting. Oscar Piastri definitely Slytherin or Ravenclaw. George Russell. What's George Russell? I think he wants to be Gryffindor, but I think he's a Slytherin.
Yes, or he's a Raven. Yeah.
We're not good enough at this. We're not.
I don't know
enough.
this shit. People in the chat. What are Matt and I and what are the rest of? I mean, obviously Max is Slytherin. I mean, Max is like
Slytherin.
Max is like when they put the hat on Draco and they barely.
And it's just
touch his
immediately.
head. Yeah, that's Max. Let's be clear.
Slytherin.
That's Max.
Max speaks parcel tongue.
Yeah. Max is like, what? I just know it. Pierre Gasly is Gryffindor or Hufflepuff.
Oh, great. No, Pierre Gasly's Hufflepuff, dude. He's
Yuki
here for a
Tsunoda
good time.
Hufflepuff. Yuki Tsunoda's Hufflepuff, obviously.
Yuki Tsunoda's Hufflepuff. Ollie Behrman fucking Hufflepuff, dude.
I don't know. I think he might be Griff.
Be
because
Gryffindor.
The reality
He might
of
be
Gryffindor is
Gryffindor.
that like they're actually not that fun. They're like too
they're
noble.
brave and earnest.
Right. Yeah, not fun.
He's definitely earnest
Yeah.
and brave. Did you hear him when he got points? He was like, "Woohoo! Oh my god!"
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're definitely not good.
Anyway,
at this. Fernando
subscribe to
Alonso is own Slytherin.
Yeah. He
Just runs it.
He's Draco's dad with the long hair and the fucking cane.
I mean, Aston Martin is literally just Slytherin.
It's just
literally
Slytherin.
it's just
and
the whole
obviously
thing.
Lance Stroll Slytherin.
And Lawrence Stroll is Jonathan Isaacs.
Yeah.
Or Jason Isaac, whatever
That's the reality of that.
Yeah,
Is that he's Draco and he's whatever the fuck the dad is named. Bankas, I have to tell you about our sponsor today, True Classic. True Classic make amazing shirts and clothing for guys. Right now, I'm wearing our perfect Yuki Tsunoda shirt, but if I was going to be wearing anything other than this, I'd be wearing True Classic because True Classic makes shirts that hug all the right places for guys. It's broad around the chest, tight around the arms so people can see the gun show, baby. I got guns and I want people to see that I got them. I love my True Classic. Everything they make is so soft, but also hugs you in all the right places. I feel sturdy and cared for at the same time. What other company can tell you that? And especially a company that doesn't break the bank like True Classic. True Classic shirts are affordable, and guess what? They're even more affordable when you use our code. So forget the overpriced designer nonsense. Skip the cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life. Grab yours at Target or Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/redflags and get hooked up today. All right, let's keep it rolling. Should we discuss Red Bull? Let's talk about our boy Yuki Tsunoda, dude.
What do you got to say now, fuckheads? How you like me now? How you like me now? Finished ninth. Finished 2 places behind Max. 3 places behind. 3 places. Say it with your chest.
Wait.
3 places behind Max.
3 places behind Max, and Max overtook Gasly like on the last lap, like the last corner. Like Max barely got 6th. Max really was almost in 7th. And Max got lucky as fuck. Max got unlucky at first and then lucky. Max had the terrible pit stops because I don't know what's going on with the Red Bull team. They used to be amazing at the pit stop. I understand that the light was broken. But I don't know. I just feel like Red Bull a year ago, Red Bull 2 years ago, that light would have been worked out.
Okay, so I got Sergio Perez's results up here. Okay, so
Yes.
The last race of the season he retired, Qatar retired, Las Vegas he finished 10th, Sao Paulo he finished 11th, Mexico finished 17th. So in the USA,
Yeah.
in Austin he finished 7th. So the last time someone finished ninth or better, was Austin last year.
Yeah.
Austin last year, Brian.
Dude, Yuki Tsunoda, I've said this before, and I will say it again, is going to be the best person to drive that second Red Bull car since Daniel Ricciardo.
Yes.
That's what's up. And
it's a disaster, though. It's a disaster.
They're a disaster.
It's a disaster because they didn't even want... He was their last choice. Their best choice was their last choice.
Yeah.
What does that say about your ability to pick drivers? And the guy... And actually, he was better off being forgotten about because if they had actually liked him, they would have fucked him up.
Right. Totally.
Because they were like, he's no good. Let's just have him gain experience and confidence. God forbid Liam Lawson gained experience and confidence before they stuck him in there, right?
Through negligence and disdain, they actually raised an amazing driver.
Right. We talked about this before. It's like when the parent is shitty, the overlooked kid actually is better off than the kid that gets all the attention.
Yes.
You want to be the overlooked. You don't want to be the favorite when the parent is on some shit bullshit.
Right.
Don't want to be the favorite.
Yeah, you don't want that smoke.
Just leave. So yeah, this is devastating.
Me the fuck alone.
This is devastating because what are they going to do? Because like, let's say he does a good job, his contract's up, Honda's gone. What are they going to do, Brian?
I don't know. They need to keep him. They need to keep him.
What they think they need to do is whoever wins between Hajar and Lawson, they keep Yuki on another year. They give Hajar and this kid, what's his name?
Lindblad.
Arvin Lindblad. They give him a year or two. Let them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let them gain experience, and hopefully, Yuki will have some place to go then. But you got to keep him if he's doing at least average. Keep him.
Yeah.
But that wasn't part of their plan. I mean, they're a shit show. Max had a slow pit stop last race, and I read that they brought the backup team.
Yeah.
He didn't even have the A pit crew. It's like, why would you want that in Suzuka when he might be able to win the fucking race? Right. They brought the backup pit crew. Jonathan Wheatley was gone now. Jonathan Wheatley's gone.
Yep. He
runs that team. They had two of those. They had a million slow pits today, which is what they're known for.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell is going on over there. I mean, they had the light. That was one thing, but then they couldn't get the front right on. Off. And Max, because the reality is what I was saying earlier, Yuki should have finished ahead of Max. Max got bailed out by the safety car because they had pit him. He was on fresh tires. He didn't pit, so he gained a bunch of track position, and he was able to go to the end. That's what happened to Max Verstappen's race. Max was in 20th at one point. And like a real 20th. Not a fake 20th,
right.
Like a pretty, not a ultimately totally real 20th, but a pretty real 20th.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that is keeping the glue together is how good they are operationally. You know, even when the car is bad, the strategy's on it, the pit stops are on it. They do they've always done the little things right. Even when in 2021, they had better strategy, the fastest pit stops, like those little marginal things. I think when we're starting to see those things go, then it's trouble.
I also think
then it's real rot.
And I think people have Wheatley left. People have left. This is what happens when you have the dominant, the big team. When a team wins the Super Bowl, the defensive coordinator gets a head coaching job someplace else. The offensive coordinator gets a head coaching job someplace else. This can be what happens. And then especially with all the chaos last year, even more people have left. I mean, Callum, who we had on the podcast, he's not there.
Well, he's an ambassador now. He's like an influencer.
Yeah, but he was on the pit crew. So people are it's like people have left. They are down people. The system is not as tight as it used to be. Yeah.
And I hate to say it, Jos Verstappen predicted it.
Yeah, I mean,
he said if he stays, his team is going to be torn apart.
Well, and then from what we hear, what Ted Kravitz was saying is that Max's manager was seen storming into the Red Bull, hospitality after the race, that he was furious. The report is that Raymond Vermeulen, who is Max's manager, also Yoss's like good friend, came into the Red Bull garage and gave Helmut Marko what can only be described as a piece of his mind. He was remonstrating with Helmut Marko, who was just standing there taking it, and then Raymond stormed off to the back of the garage, sort of taking a pass off as he went. Clearly, they are not happy. So the Verstappen camp is pissed off. I mean, we were talking. There was a discussion.
Why is he yelling at Helmut? I was like, I don't build the fucking car. You want to get mad? Get mad at me for picking the other drivers? Sure.
Yeah, he's like, I wanted Yuki Tsunoda longer than Christian did. I'm sorry that he.
I thought Yuki was the truth.
That's why he's actually mad.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's definitely a bad situation over there. We were talking after last race, like Max wins in Japan, he pulls off. Is this a miracle or is this like a sign of things to come? But if the best that Max Verstappen can do is barely squeaking out a sixth place, then why is he staying at that team?
Well, if he does badly enough, it'll trigger a performance clause, and he's
right.
He might be out of here by 2026.
Right.
I mean, but he might be out of here. I mean,
by the end of 2025.
Smart money was that he would wait, see where everyone was, and then jump. But now it's like he doesn't seem happy there. Yeah. The culture doesn't seem great from his point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, he liked that. I mean, we're reading the tea leaves here. He liked that tweet or that post that driver made about Liam.
Right.
He liked that. That was him sort of saying, I don't like the way things are going here. I don't like I don't like the blame everybody but our. It's kind of like no accountability.
Right.
Liam is paying for your terrible management. And I think Yuki doing well is even bigger indictment of them. Max saying post-race he didn't want to talk to the team, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he must be pissed off. There's no way that he's not. We know what he can do with that car. I don't think that, like, we know that he can bring that car into a place that it's not supposed to be, and he's getting sixth, which can only also say how good is Yuki that he got ninth, and really should have been ahead of Max in the first place. But we digress.
Right. So I guess the thing is do you think?
Yeah.
I think because of the dysfunction that's been happening in that team is why he has a right to be angry. But every team, no team is great forever.
Right.
Like, how mad could he actually be? Like, if that's the thing, is if they were all in lockstep together doing their best and they just missed, Max doesn't have as much of a right to be angry.
Yeah.
But the fact is, there was a scandal. People left. There was a drain in talent. There's a struggle for power that sort of coincided. I don't think it was a coincidence. It coincided with the death of the founder, Dietrich Mateschitz, and everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're doing everything right.
They keep Sergio Perez on for longer than they probably should have. They don't develop the young talent. They don't bring in someone who's ready for the moment. They bring in a guy who's not ready yet, and then cut him after two races. They do
Nick DeVries, Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, they damage relationships. I mean, Max is close with Daniel. The way that they treated Daniel at the end, like you don't think that they talk. You don't think that that at all affected Max. Max wants his, as much as Max is a savage on track. Max wants his friends to do well. Max wants his friends to be happy. Like, he's for everything we understand, he's like a really nice guy off track, and the way that people are treated around him, I think, matters.
Well, he also just hates the bullshit.
Yeah,
he hates the bullshit. Adrian Newey, right? He hired Eddie, the late great Eddie Jordan. He hired because he didn't want to deal. I mean, if you read his book, he wrote explicitly about how he fucking hated the sort of palace intrigue of Formula One.
Right.
He was at McLaren, Ron Dennis. Everything was gray.
Yeah.
Everything was gray. He painted his office blue because, he wanted to, because he's an artist, right? He's Da Vinci. He's fucking Da Vinci, right?
Right.
And McLaren and Dennis was so pissed off. And then here comes Red Bull. Red Bull's fun. It's supposed to be. It was supposed to be fun, right? Not this super political snake pit. And that's why he left.
Right.
I mean, it's not explicitly what he said, but if you read his book, that's why he went to Red Bull in the first place, because it was supposed to be fun.
Right.
So then it's it's just a bunch of it's Game of fucking Thrones. He's like,
it's turned into fucking Macbeth. It's like
right. Who wants that?
Ben, you know what, dude? And then but then they bring in Yuki Tsunoda, who crashes into Carlos Sainz, gets debris on track, triggers a safety car, and brings Max Verstappen into the points. Now that's a teammate.
That's
a fucking teammate, dude.
That is a teammate. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's true.
Mean, yeah.
I mean, Carlos fucked around and he found out. That's what happened.
And then later he was like, we gotta. I mean, Yuki just destroyed his side pod. You saw that clip of. I was like, oh. All of a sudden something exploded. I was like, what happened? And then they show the side pod. I'm like, oh my god, that's
my son. That's my son. see, Lando should take notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think twice before you send it on Yuki Tsunoda. He's fucking crazy. And he hit him twice. He hit him a second time. He fucking he rear-ended
into him.
Rammed into him.
Rammed into him.
That's my son, dude. That is my son. Yeah. He didn't start the fight, but he fucking finished it. He fucking finished it.
In order to keep our prediction of Albon outperforming Sainz alive, Yuki Tsunoda did that for us as well. Because this was a weekend.
He follows the pod. He knows what's at stake. He's a follower.
Yeah,
but I fucking love him so much.
Yeah, dude. It's been steps in the right direction. I think he's only going to keep on getting better as he gets used to that car. He's going to continue to be in the points every week, I think. I
love his Valley Girl kind of way he speaks. When something wasn't working, he goes, these brakes aren't like Max is like, fuck these brakes. And he's like, these brakes are impossible. Seriously. He's always like, seriously, guys. He's like Eric Cartman or something.
Max did have. I also wrote. Max had a Valley Girl moment today when he was on the radio too. He's like, I can't even brake anymore. It's just ridiculous. Seriously, guys. Brakes are freaking ridiculous. Sucks. Wait. Let's switch to Ferrari. Interesting weekend for them. Step in the right direction for them. At one point, I was assuming that they were going to fuck up the strategy, and then they actually they did, and they didn't. There was the big moment where they after the safety car, the McLaren boys are on the mediums, George is on the softs. They put both the Ferrari guys on the hards.
That was dumb.
That was dumb. That was
dumb, and they didn't even go they didn't even want to go long.
Well, Charles wanted to do a one stop. And
which
they said
wouldn't have worked.
Which would not have worked. So at least I was like, because I was like, oh, they're gonna.
Please consider Delta.
Delta,
please.
Guys.
At least consider it.
Delta. Yeah. Well, Leclerc had another Valley Girl moment today. He goes, brakes inconsistent, so annoying, so annoying. These brakes are so annoying, guys. Seriously. Yeah,
one day I want to go engine mode 3 as if.
Yeah. Dude, and then later when they put Lewis on the hards, and then it just goes, this tire sucks. I was like, yes, dude. Yes.
I love when he puts aside his plant-based polished demeanor, where he's just grateful and humbled and just want to thank everyone back at the factory.
Yeah.
And he just goes, this tire sucks.
Guys, this tire sucks. What the hell? But, I mean, even despite all of that, it was at least kind of a step in the right direction. Them being 4th and 5th,
Lewis qualified 9th.
I know, but this is what Lewis does. I think Lewis is going to be back a step in qualifying. This is what he's done for the last few years. He qualifies poorly, and then he makes his way through the field and gets a better position than when he started. That's in there. Leclerc qualified 3rd, right? And started 2nd because they swapped. They both the Mercedes boys lost the place. I still think it's a step.
And Leclerc tried a little funny stuff with Oscar in the first. I feel like Leclerc was a little aggressive in the beginning.
Leclerc was aggressive.
No.
I'm not having any of that. He had the good battles with Lando. He helped him. He held him off. He overtook him at one point. There was, I think, there's something. If you're a Ferrari fan, this is at least a step in the right direction for the boys.
You're a Hamilton fan, though.
I mean, do you see that clip of him saying like, "What do you say to the people that are like really hoping that you guys are going to turn out something great this year?" And he goes, "It's like stop hoping, please." Like,
Lewis never give up Hamilton.
He was just guys, like, it's too much. Like, I know the pictures are awesome. I know I look amazing in red. I know it's Ferrari. I know I did the Ferris Bueller scene. But let's pump the brakes on the expectations here. Like, give us and me a second here.
I think he's still doing those crazy tinkering setups. He's just...
Well, what he said was that he's trying to adjust his driving style. And the reality is that Lewis is like pushing 40. So teaching an old dog new tricks is hard. And like, who knows if he'll get there? But I think he's trying to figure out how to like he's been in Mercedes. He was at Mercedes for so long.
Yeah.
With cars that were built around him.
And you write him off, and then he has the sprint race. And you're like, wait a minute.
I still think that if Ferrari like gets their shit together and they're like have races where they can win, like I think that Lewis is going to be right up there scoring podiums. Can he out-qualify Leclerc in this type of season where it's going to be very qualifying dependent? I don't know if he's going to be able to get there this year in any consistent way. But yeah, I mean, it was I really thought they were going to totally fuck up, and they only kind of fucked up. So that is a step in the right direction.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot
worse.
But don't worry, they were complaining to their engineers the whole time. Brakes inconsistent, so annoying, guys. Guys, this tire fucking sucks. Yeah, I mean, this race had there was so much to cover. Thank God that we have a wide track, because these cars are so fucking big and fat that you just need like space for these cars to be able to pass each other.
Yeah, there was like dizzying amount of overtakes.
It was overwhelming how many overtakes.
I was overwhelmed. I felt like I was watching some of these races. Sometimes you feel like you're watching Tenet. It's too many threads.
Yeah, everything's going backwards. You're like,
somewhere between Suzuka and what we had this week, just a little bit with the two stop and then the safety car and yeah. I think, but it was a lot of fun. It would have been nice if there was a battle. I feel everyone's like, this was a great race. I go, is it a great race when the leader just sails off into the distance?
Yeah,
is that a great race?
They don't even show him crossing the finish line. They show him in the little box in the corner. It's just like such a hipster thing. It's like, it's not about who wins. I'm like, yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is. It's about who wins. It's nice to have other things going on, but in order for the race to be great, I want to be somewhat uncertain about who's going to win. No, of course, and they didn't help themselves with not with the fucking broadcast and the fucking timing screen being broken for the 14th fucking time this year. It's really bad. I mean, that pissed me off. I guess I'm just not as pissed at F1 as I am at the FIA. Like, I can only be so mad. I know people are like, there's a limit to your anger. Yeah. But I was more angry. I'm more angry, Brian, about the track limits bullshit and how it takes them so long how Albon was screwed out of the track limits with Hulkenberg and and it took them hours to see that he went over the track limits. Yeah. And MBS was there. Yeah. Just smiling in every shot. In every shot. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see him when they're interviewing in Lando in the post race? He's just pacing behind the camera, like photobombing, like me at a bar mitzvah. Just photobombing everybody. He's a photobomber, dude. Yeah. It's crazy. And then with Lewis, he was like, "Where my hug at?" He was literally like, "Where my hug at?"
to Lewis Hamilton. It's so sad.
Yeah,
it's
Lewis
so sad. Here's the saddest part. He wants these guys to like him.
He's dying for them to like him.
So desperate for them to like him, but they don't. And the only way you get attention is to be a dick.
Yeah.
And then they don't like him even more.
Yeah.
But then he's like, well, they kind of have to be nice to me because I'll fucking end them with,
right.
I'll do what, I'll be, because I'm kind of like the IRS and I can audit the shit out of them and I'll just ruin their fucking life. So Lewis kind of had to give him like a little thing. You can't completely blank this guy.
Yeah.
But he desperately wants to be liked. He's Michael Scott, but he's mean. He's like he's season 1 Michael Scott. Remember when Michael Scott was a dick?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, if we want this to go forever, we need to make Steve Carell a little nicer.
Yeah, well, that's what the British office was. The British office was just like, he's just an asshole. Yeah. He's not redeemable. And then they're like, in order for this to be the thing, in order for this to be like the cash cow and for us to live on this forever, he needs to be like lovable. He needs to be your annoying boss, but who has a heart of gold. No. No heart of gold, heart of coal. And but he's desperate for the photo op.
By the way, I'm desperate. We by the way, in sports, we love a dictator. But just be good at the fucking make the trains run on time. If you're gonna be Mussolini, make the trains run on time.
Well, that's what he's trying to do with.
But he's not doing it, Brian.
With this V10 shit. With this V10. No, I agree. What he's trying to do like this Hail Mary with the V10s. He's like he's been on the internet enough, and he knows that people like everyone kind of has been talking for years about, I miss the screaming V10. I miss the screaming V10. And he's like, what if we did that next year? What if we did that next year? And all the teams are like, what? I'm sorry, we've been spending millions of dollars developing.
Most of them are willing to do it.
Well, the ones who know that they're going to suck next year.
Yeah, but it's weird because like a Sauber, it's like Mercedes and Sauber won't do it, or not Sauber, Audi. It's like Audi will probably suck next year too.
Yeah, but
they're just thinking
Mercedes
about
also supplies half the grid. Yeah,
they're just thinking about. I think Audi's thinking about, well, like it won't be road relevant, and it'll be this. It's this antiquated type of car, and we wanted to get into Formula One because to be on the cutting edge. And V10 is kind of regressive, but I think they should do it. I think
it's working on you. The PR campaign is working on you. That's what's happening right now.
Well, you think you disagree? You think that do you give a shit that these are hybrid engines?
I don't give a fuck that they're hybrid engines. I just think that like you've given it's like it's less than a year away. You can't just be like, and now for 26 we're doing this. It's like,
but apparently the engines don't work, Brian. Like they don't have enough power. Like they short out. Like all the simulations are kind of embarrassing.
Mm.
And I don't know about this sort of push to pass thing that they're trying to do. They got rid of DRS. Like it could just be a mess.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't know. It's like you stick with your play. I think it's half that and half that like he wants like a win with the fans.
It's too late. It's too late. He could resurrect. He could resurrect Ayrton Senna, and people would still fucking hate him. He's not. Yeah, if you're going to be a dictator, you got to make sure the trains run on time.
Yeah. Vankers, when I started this podcast, I thought I was going to have to do it all on my own. Now, luckily, I had Matt and Jenny, but we needed a little bit more help, and that's where Shopify came into play. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Not like us anymore because we're established. We love Shopify here at the Red Flags, our merch store, which sells our perfect merch, including this perfect t-shirt we should buy right now at theredflagspod.com. Guess what? That website and that store is run through Shopify, and you can turn your business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/redflags. Go to shopify.com/redflags. Once again, shopify.com/redflags and get started today. All right, let's get into our awards. Let's get into hottest moment of the day.
Hottest moment of the day.
I liked the Lando, Ferrari, Lewis, Charles overtaking, that whole sequence was pretty great.
Yeah.
I also think that the restart was amazing. Just like there was just like a bunch of times where there was just like, oh my God, there's 18 people going. It felt like it was just like, oh, every car is going into this one corner at the same time. There was just a lot of like great on-track action that happened.
Yes, there was a lot of... could have been Lando's start. It was almost Lando's start.
It was all... If Lando hadn't fucked up the placement at the start of the thing, it would have been Lando's start. Jenny's saying Bierman's start. Okay, I guess. Yeah.
I would say... He
squirreled his way through.
Maybe my favorite moment was Carlos trying to come at the king.
That's right, dude.
Carlos trying to come at the king.
And Yuki blowing his back out, dude. Just blowing his back out. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Daddy of the Day. I think we got to give it to Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, he made everybody his son today. That's for sure.
Especially one Lando Norris.
Mm-hmm.
Even actually at the restart, because I was actually at the restart because Russell was on softs. I was like, here we go. Like, this is the time to try to go for this win. I thought George maybe was really going to like try something. And then in the cool down room, like George at the very end of it, George was like, I almost tried something on the restart. And then Oscar was like, yeah, why didn't you?
I thought it was Lando. I think it was Lando. It was like, why didn't you? I thought.
Maybe Lando was like, yeah,
Lando's like, why didn't you fucking help me out? God damn it. Someone's got to stop this guy.
Lando literally was like, come on, dude. Like, fucking give me, help your friend out. Try and get first place, please. That cool down room was amazing.
He took his fucking shirt off. I was like, you're out of control.
Dude, I was watching it with my niece, and she goes, why did he take his... She goes, he took his shirt off. And I went, yeah, he did it. She goes, why?
Okay, so Bina, do you know what a narcissist is? It's called a narcissist. What did you say to her?
I said, he's hot. But then he put his race suit back on, so he wasn't actually that hot.
No, he took his like Under Armour off.
Yeah, right. But then he put his race suit on, which must be the hotter of the two.
Yeah, but he can't take his race suit off. He has pants on.
No, you can take it and you take it off the top and you just let it hang. That's what they all do. They let it hang below their waist.
Right. He just wanted to give the boys and girls at home a peek.
He was clip farming, as our Gen Z producer says. Brian says he was doing it for the TikTok edits. The dude was clip farming. He said, "Look at all of the muscles in my back." That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
On the way to the room, he could have done that.
No. He waited. He
needed the cameras to see, baby.
All eyes on me.
He was dying for Toto Wolff to see his back muscles. Yeah, the cool down.
Well, he's got to do something. Nobody gives a shit.
I know. The cool down room was also amazing when Lando, at one point, when Lando was like, "Who's that?" and then Oscar goes, "That's you. What are you talking about?"
I think he was joking.
I know he was joking, but it was perfect because Oscar like doesn't understand that humor. Yeah. Oscar just like takes everything literally.
Yeah.
Like when they say you
Rough
need
hang.
to win, Oscar says, yes, okay, I will do that. But then when did Lando call himself a Muppet or did George Russell call Lando a Muppet? I think Lando
called himself a Muppet.
I thought it was George, but I can't tell because their accents are similar.
No.
Yeah, Lando was just, he's just so
I should just quit. I suck. I suck.
Oh, Lando.
It's like me watching like a YouTube video of myself. Be like, you're so fat and ugly, disgusting. It's like, but I'm not a high performance athlete.
Right.
I'm not a high performance athlete. Although when the internet cut out, I was relentless. I toggled through all the problems, and I eventually figured it out.
This race, Matt, we started this episode. Matt was in his apartment. Now he is in our friend's garage, like man cave, because Matt's internet didn't work. Even though I've been traveling, and my internet's always perfect. And Matt's
your internet sucked when you lived in Brooklyn.
That's true, but you gotta get your internet situation sorted out, baby. You can afford it. Let's get the fucking high fiber optics. Okay, radio of the day. There were so many good radios. I mean, there was George. I hope my steering wheel doesn't come off. There was these tires suck. Yeah, I mean, there was just so much beautiful. Yeah, don't forget to drink. Oscar's like, I would if it worked. Sassy Oscar on the radio. I'm going to give it to Hamilton, these tires suck, which I don't even think they played that audio. I just saw text
read it
on screen, and I guffawed laughing.
I was laughing so hard.
It's also so funny because when they put them on the hards, we were like, what are you? Well, they had to. Well, they didn't have to. They could put them on the softs. It was the safer play to put them on the hards. Right,
but I mean, we were seeing that other guys are at that point. I think we were seeing that other guys were doing well on the softs.
Well, there was that moment where they. And this is also so classic Lando. They say to Lando, they go, Oscar. They go, Lando. Don't worry, baby. George is on softs in front of you. Like those shits are gonna degrade so fast. You got this, dude. And then Lando's like, I don't know, like the softs are really the best tire. Like he's probably got this thing in the bag. Like I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, come on.
I mean, he was right.
He was right.
But like, he just sees this. He sees the shit lying and everything. I was like, Lando, God damn it, have some fucking belief.
You should be like, you're right. He is on the softs. Those last couple laps, the tires will degrade. And guess what? They did. Those last couple laps, they did degrade.
Here's the thing: is all the Lando fans are gonna be like, "Why are you hating on Lando?" It's like we're not a hate. We just want him to believe in himself. We're not saying anything about him that he doesn't say about himself.
And here's the thing, because there's a lot of discourse about like Lando's mentality, Lando's this, Lando's that. And I think that there's a degree in which the discourse around it can be toxic. I agree with that. But these guys are in the pressure. This is a crucible of performance. And like, listen, the mental side of competing at this highest level is huge. And you look at all of the Mamba mentality. You look at the killers of every sport, and they're guys who are unflappable, who have a belief in themselves, even if they don't believe it at all times.
Delusional.
There's a delusional belief in themselves, and I know that, like, I think that Lando's trying to like be as much of himself as he can be, but I don't think that Lando being confident is not himself. I think that like there's an assumption, well, it's like, well, I'm being myself, so like I have to shit all over myself. Like that's not necessarily you being yourself. That's a learned coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Little kids don't shit on themselves. Little kids are self-interested. I'm hanging out with my niece right now, and like there's It's like we're at the park for 3 minutes. They go, okay, we're gonna be here for three more minutes, and she goes 4. And I'm like, you're racing, like you're a Formula One driver. That is such a Formula One driver thing to say. I don't like it. I
am the center of the universe. I am the best.
You need to be able to tap into that, and I think. Do I think it's unhealthy at times? Of course, but I think that like for Lando to achieve this ultimate goal of his, this manner of how he conducts himself is getting in his way, and maybe that's okay with him, and maybe that's okay with some of the fans. But like, I want Lando to win a championship.
But is he thinking? I'm going to do it my way, or I'm not going to do it at all.
Sure, and maybe that's what's best for him. But I think that maybe it takes a little bit of adjustment of like, well, why am I so like attached to my way? What does my way look like? Maybe there are certain things about your way that aren't serving you. Maybe if you took a different mentality, a different outlook on the thing, it wouldn't feel so foreign. People can get really stuck in like, this is how I do things. This is how I do things. This is how I do things. And it's like, maybe if you tried something else, you could still feel like, well, that's still me. That's still me.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, as a writer or a performer or an artist, when you're like, well, if I completely compromise everything that makes me, my voice, my whatever, then if I get to the top with a voice that isn't mine, will I even like recognize myself?
Right.
It's there's a little bit of that. I was just thinking about Devil Wears Prada recently, where she goes in and she's like disdainful of the fashion world and all these women that are superficial and cutthroat, and then she gets sucked in and she rises to the ranks, and then she becomes the very thing she hates.
Right.
And what's the point of all this success if I don't even recognize myself?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if he's thinking that much about, like, I don't think if he's like, oh, I'm just like Anne Hathaway in Devil Wears Prada, but does he really want to?
Yeah, but
is there something in it of like you want to do it your way?
I guess,
or it's not worth doing it.
But I guess I'm like, don't you think Anne Hathaway learned something about herself through that process? Don't you think that like in the journey there,
she quit.
She quit, but like and then she went on to do her own thing. She recognized this wasn't for her. You know, it's like you can be kind of like stuck in the mud of like, this is my way of doing things, but
but it seems like F1 is Meryl Streep world, baby. You got to be, you know, that's how you got to do it. I mean,
yeah. Our producer saying a Lando Norris edit to Frank Sinatra's "My Way" would go so hard. That
is the most New Jersey. That is the most New Jersey fucking.
And then it's like it's him spinning off for once in a man, like him creeping ahead of his start position. What has he got? If not himself, his tires degrading against Max last year,
sailing off in Brazil.
Yeah, for he has not.
Just fluffing a start.
It's like Lando can be a cocky bastard sometimes. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to tap into that.
Brian, can you explain, either Brian in the chat or Brian right in front of me, can you explain regrets? I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. So do you have regrets or not? I never got that line.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's saying he has a few regrets, but like not that many ultimately. And ultimately, they just needed lyrics to fill the space. Don't look too deep into song lyrics. I just think that Lando Norris could do it. Like I think his way can mean lots of different things. Doesn't have to mean one thing.
Yeah, I mean that was sort of an obstacle for us starting this podcast. I was like, well, I'm not a podcast. Like I'm a writer. You know, I don't do podcasting. That's not how that's not my
ego
self-image. That's not my self-image of myself. Right. So maybe there is a bit of, I don't know. Here's a question.
There's ego and self-pity. There's ego and self-pity. There is ego and self-pity.
But there is a question of like, he doesn't have to change, right? If he wants to keep doing it this way, then he can do it this way. But then I think it's interesting because I think his fan group is so interesting because it's like they don't want him to change. They like that he's like that's what they like about him.
Right.
Right? So, because for me, it's like, I don't want to root for a guy that isn't, for me personally, Brian, why do I want to waste my time rooting for a guy who doesn't root for his fucking self? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't have time for Lando. Right, like, I'm Yuki's like, I want to kill everybody. I want to make as much money as possible. I want to build my restaurant. I'm like, that's just something I could get behind.
Right.
Leclerc, right? Leclerc is like, I promised my dying dad that I would make something, and my dead godfather that I would make good here. And it's like, whoa, I can get behind that. With Lando, it's like, yeah, I want to win, but I want to do it my way, and maybe I'm not that good. Maybe Max is the best. It's like, that's fucking, who's got time for, I don't have time for
Oscar,
that. Maybe that's me.
Oscar's, you were so far in the front, I could barely even see you, man.
I mean, I get that look, it's very relatable. I will say that it's relatable. He is one of the more relatable drivers on the grid.
I just need him to pull it together and fucking put some performances together, baby.
This is guys who are listening. You know, Lando will put it on pole in fucking Saudi Arabia, and Brian will be like, "He's back, baby." Never doubted him for a minute. He figured it out.
I'm a Fairweather fan. I'm not a Fairweather fan. I'm just easily swayed when it comes to Lando because I just don't know what I'm going to get week to week. So it's hard to feel like on solid ground with him ever. All right, we've gone on enough. We've gone on enough about this. Let's move on. Karen of the day.
No more. Karen of the day. Karen of the day.
I'm giving it to Max. Tattling fucking snitch on my boy Lando.
Lando snitches on him too. Yeah, they snitch on each other.
Lando snitches on himself as well.
Dude, there was this amazing, I forgot. Remember, it was like, I think it was like last year where Max did something. He like came over to wave to Lando.
Yeah.
And Lando was like, yeah, he broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Max was the nicest thing Max ever did in his whole life on track.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me wave to my friend Lando. I was like, yeah, he broke the pit limiter button. He's over the limit.
Yeah. Who are you giving it to?
Who am I giving Karen of the day to? Yeah, I mean, Max being a snitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Max being a snitch, that's fine.
All right. And then red flag of the day. I know who I'm giving it to, and let me cook for a second here. You were mad at MBS earlier, but someone needs to be fired because whatever is going on with the timing sheet is unacceptable. This year, for some reason, they're like, we're going to switch it up. We're going to do something new with the thing that doesn't need to be fucking fixed. We're going to put new little, like, icons. And there's going to be moving graphics behind the timing sheet because some corporate fuck said we need to adjust something. Hey, we need to spice it up. Let's do something with these graphics. They look antiquated. Guess what? A, they look worse. They look like a fucking middle schooler did them. And B, they don't work for the thing that they're supposed to do, which is the timing. You have one job, is to show me how far apart the drivers are from each other. But they've messed it up in qualifying before. They messed it up in China qualifying. It's been happening time and time again this year, and it's ridiculous. That's the one thing that we have as fans to know what the hell is going on. And then instead, they put the little box, and it's covering what's happening on track. They're like, oh, this thing's broken. All of a sudden, George Russell's in last place. Why? It's just not the pinnacle of motorsport. I'm sorry. Are there not billions of dollars going into this? This is the thing.
Yeah, let's not forget all the DRS that wasn't working. George Russell just disappeared. George Russell with no gamer tag just doesn't exist.
What's happening?
Brian, when George Russell dropped like that, I was like, he did a Singapore. He fucking blew it.
That's what I assumed.
I knew it happened. I was so convinced. I was like licking my lips. I was like, where in the wall is this motherfucker?
I was so excited when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? I go, oh no. Someone in the corporate world said we needed to fix the thing that wasn't broken, and now they fixed it. It's fucking worse.
Now I'm wondering, I think that some of this is probably maybe a little the FIA's fault. I mean, it's their job to put the timing things on, probably. It's their job to keep track of the timings. And I think they control the DRS, right?
Well, those are separate. The DRS thing is separate, obviously, from the broadcast. I think that the timing thing, I don't know exactly. I think what they were saying was that the timing that they were using at the bottom that they would replace the timing with, that was actually the FIA timing, and it was actually it was Sky Sports' or whoever's timing shit that was fucked up, and they actually needed the FIA to fix their shit while they were, fixing their stuff.
It's amateur hour. Fucking amateur hour.
Ridiculous. And then, I guess an additional red flag, like whatever the hell was going on this whole week in fucking Bahrain with the DRS, with the electrical systems, George's power. Like, why are multiple teams messing? Like, multiple teams are having steering wheel issues. Multiple teams are having DRS issues. The fucking light's not working. In the thing, it was. I love when Ted Kravitz goes, "Bring back the man with the lollipop." Bring back the man with the lollipop. But really, they've tried to automate a thing that used to be done by a human being, and guess what? It's worse. This is where we're heading as a globe. AI. Fucking automated systems. Put flesh and blood in there, baby. All right. We got a new segment brought to you by Pelote Shoes. We're going to be discussing the best dressed of this week in Bahrain. Fashion Corner of Pelote Shoes makes amazing sneakers and shoes that are perfect for driving. And if you want to feel that pedal, you got to get your Pelote shoes. But who was the best dressed of the paddock? We've got Lewis Hamilton with the hair. He didn't have to do much. Like, Lewis Hamilton didn't even really bring a fit this week. He was just like, fucking, I undid my braids, bitch. And the internet went crazy. That's the power of Lewis. We had Yuki Tsunoda looking so fresh in this Red Bull gear because finally Red Bull has a driver that wants to take a risk fashion-wise, because they've had Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez the last 4 years, who are
just lots of skinny jeans.
Just skinny jeans and tight shirts and not a baggy piece of clothing to be found. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I didn't even know Red Bull was rocking this shit. And then all of a sudden, Yuki's wearing the bucket hat, the matching shorts, and polo shirt.
Yeah, he makes the Red Bull stuff look good.
He makes the Red Bull stuff look amazing. Honestly, I'm giving it to Yuki Tsunoda this week. And if you want to be well-dressed like our king Yuki Tsunoda this week, you got to get your Pelote shoes. They are performance shoes for on and off track. They are designed for heel-toe shifting, all-day comfort, and automotive-inspired style. These are driving shoes for every day and for every fan. You can get your shift driving shoe to the Icona lifestyle sneaker. We've got something for diehard racers and casual enthusiasts alike. If you want to feel like you're a racing driver on the road, you got to get your Pelote shoes. And with our discount, you can go to pelote.com and use code REDFLAGSA25, all one word, at checkout for 15% off. That is Pelote.com, so Piloti.com, and use code REDFLAGSA25, all one word, at checkout for 15% off. Fuck, marry, kill this podium. George and the McLaren boys.
Marrying Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Lando, probably killing George.
I am putting Lando Norris out of his misery. I am marrying George Russell because I think he's a diamond in the rough, and I think that I'm buying low because I'm getting a glow up, and I want one night with Oscar Piastri. That's what I'm doing. We got Saudi Arabia coming up next week. What do you think is going to happen?
Roll on Oscar Piastri. Just keep the foot on the neck.
Yeah. I have a hard time thinking that it's not going to be Oscar, but I do think that that track suits Lando better.
It's faster. Look at the walls.
It's faster corners. I think that Oscar kills these medium to slow speed corners, which Bahrain has a lot of, and I think that that's not really Lando's bag. So I think in theory it should be Lando, but in practice we'll see what the fuck that is. And I also wouldn't put it past I don't know. Like, it's not that dissimilar from a Japan. I wouldn't put it past like a Max Verstappen pulling something crazy out of the bag. And I think it's going to be another like Saturday wins it. So I'm going to say, what am I going to say?
What a nightmare. Is this a nightmare if Oscar Piastri runs away with this thing?
It would suck. But it would be...
Well, just a nightmare for viewers. I don't think he's going to run away with it. But if he wins it, the title over Lando, that is...
If he wins in Saudi Arabia,
that is red weddings.
Yeah. If he wins in Saudi Arabia, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for Lando to recover from that. But obviously he's family, so we would all celebrate in Australia with Nicole.
That's right.
That's what we would do. I am going to say that Max Verstappen pulls out a crazy pole, wins the race, and then I think that Lando gets second, Oscar gets third. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think Oscar first, Max second, Lando third.
I could see that happening as well. Okay, Venkas, before we leave, we got to thank our daddies of the pod because we have a perfect Patreon, and the perfect members of our Patreon are our daddies. You can go to patreon.com/TRFpod and become our benefactor today. We got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mero, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Ali Santana, Carla Juarno, Kimberly Whalen, Alonso, My Face 69, Donya Dana, Deadbeat Daddy Muhammad, Jimmy, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister584, Delusional Signs Fan, a.k.a. Live Lot, Cat, Future Dog Tour Dion, Steph Crossy, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hall is my F1 daddy, Branch W, Keep Up the Signs Hate, Hunter Scruggs, Salmonella, Mozzarella, I'm a Leclerc fan, and yes, it hurts. Jay Kess, George Russell is Evil Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, Matt Edwards was always right, I wish I was Max and Danny's love child, Delaney Andrews, Henry Caskey, Miles Lewis Alexander, The Real Toto Wolf, Maggie B, Kaylee Breyer, Eva the Y, Aaron Fiver, Devin, a.k.a. The Future Dr. Sullivan's PA, Courtney Frazier, Yuki Tsunoda's other mother, Austin, Megan, Aaron, Pineapple the Y, Matt has a secret boner for Carlos Sainz. Unfortunately, it's Gary, Carolina, my name is AJ, and fuck the HOA, but K-Mag can fuck smash my door any day. The official F1 race program and its executive editor, Sarah, I got tickled by the Tifosi. Hey, Jet, good luck out there. Allison Sane, Zhuge, F1 Dude Company, Trent Slickman, Code Brown Sonoda, Jerome Ferreira, Colapinto is a fraud, Aaron, Shahid, Jeans Rockstar, Chohun, Shake and Bake, Catalick My Balls, Stay Fierce, Charlotte Claire, and our honorary daddy of the pod, this week, every week, but especially this week, Nicole Piastri. If you want to become a daddy of the pod, go to patreon.com/TRFpod and join the resistance today. Big things happen on the Patreon. We love you, Vanka. See you on Wednesday for Vanka Hours, and see you next week for an update. Also, next week, if you stuck around this long, we thank you. We are doing a live stream of Saudi Arabia GP. You can watch the race live with us. Link will be in our Instagram stories and all that shit. Be on the lookout for that. So watch Saudi Arabia live with your favorite two Vankas and some special guests. Until next time.
Bye, Vankas.
We love you, Vankas.